Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello everyone, my name is Abdullah and I'm from Taiwan. Today's video is going to be a little bit personal because I'm going to talk about my own story on how I began my career as a da'i and specifically how I developed an entire online Islamic hub in Taiwan. Before we begin the video, please don't forget to like and subscribe for more Islamic contents in the Chinese language. Let's get started.
معقود في رجايا لا تعاملني بذنبي يا جواد يا كريم إنني.
So first of all, many people know me as a tour guide at the masjid, and some people know me as a Islamic speaker, and also some people know me as a software engineer. And for the most part of my life, I actually didn't live in Taiwan for many years. Ever since high school until university, I was living in Turkey. So I wasn't actually very familiar with the situation of the Muslim communities in Taiwan until I came back after I graduated from university. And one of the things that I've noticed after I came back to Taiwan was that even though we're living in the digital age where information can be found everywhere through social media or through the internet, but still the resources available on the internet about Islamic knowledge and contents in the Chinese language was still very difficult to find. One of the examples I can give is simply the translation of the Quran. When I used to chat with my friends and talk about Islam, I would advise them to look into the Quran, to read about the Quran. But since most of the Taiwanese people are not very familiar with the English language, so the resources they could find through the internet is basically limited to the Chinese contents. And if you were to read the Quran in the Chinese language a few years back then, you would see pages like this. So I do feel a little bit pressure about it because I am telling others to read the Quran through these kind of websites. But me, myself, to be honest, I don't have the patience to even look at it for more than 5 minutes. So for an average Taiwanese person to even read the translation of the Quran properly in their own language was not very realistic. And it's not only just about the Quran, but about general Islamic information on the internet. And even right now as we're speaking, if you go onto YouTube and write about Islam or Muslim in the Chinese language, you would find lots of videos. But who made these videos? Mostly non-Muslims. So basically the non-Muslims are making contents and videos about Islam and explaining Islam. So this is a problem that is still going on and a situation that I hope that could be improved. So as a software engineer, I feel the responsibility to do something about it. As I have previously explained in the other video, the local Muslim population in Taiwan is extremely low. So I took that as an opportunity, I have the skills of developing web applications. I myself, I am mainly more skilled in developing user interfaces. So I had an idea of making an online platform that collects and gathers all the useful information for an average Muslim or non-Muslim to know about Islam. And this is something that I've started since 2021. So until now, it has already been about 3 years. And of course, this is actually not the first time I have developed an application that is publicly available. In fact, when I was still at the university, I have developed a mobile application called Wahdapp. And after I launched it, it actually got some popularity. It was trending on the news. People from all around the world, especially from Indonesia, from Russia, from Turkey, a lot of people downloaded the app and used it. So the idea of the mobile app was an application for Muslims to gather together for prayer. So for example, if you would like to pray Salatul Maghrib, but at the same time you actually don't have anyone around you and you want to see if there happens to be anybody around you, so you would send an invitation and see if anybody is around, then you can meet up together and pray together. So that was the idea of the mobile application. I have worked quite some time on that, but unfortunately I didn't continue maintaining the project and I have stopped it And of course, I wasn't really able to handle such huge traffic. I was still just a student and I didn't have a lot of people who could help me on this issue. So I had to stop the project. Even though it didn't really work out in the end, but alhamdulillah, I think that was a very good experience and definitely a very good lesson for me to bear in mind for my future projects. And to be honest, I still love the idea of this project, but simply because of technical issues, I was not able to continue with that. So if you have a technical background and if you would like to make an application like this, feel free to contact me and maybe I can give you some ideas that I had back then when I was developing the application. Even though I might not be able to help in terms of technical development, but I'm happy to give you any idea that I could share. So back to 2021, after I had the idea of making a website specifically for the Muslim community in Taiwan, I have quickly created a prototype of this website, which only has a few functionalities. Even though it was a prototype, but it already had a feature that was not available anywhere on the internet back then, which is an online Quran reader with a traditional Chinese translation. My idea of this website that I'm creating is that I want to make it almost like a Swiss knife for the Muslims living in Taiwan. Whether you are a traveler or you are a local resident, or maybe you're even a non-Muslim, whatever Islamic resource that you're looking for in the Chinese language, you should be able to find it on the website. So that is my idea. So at the beginning, there was only the Quran section and also the list of halal restaurants and stores and hotels that you can find in Taiwan. Halal information was already available before I even made the website, but I still wasn't very satisfied with the situation because what we could all find was just information about food. But for people who would like to learn about Islam, they didn't really have anywhere to find. So for me, developing an entire Quran reader with a traditional Chinese translation was already a huge milestone for me. So that was how it was back then in 2021. But now in 2024, the website became a lot better. And of course, it has a lot of features that it didn't have in the past. Let me simply introduce you what features it has. So if you go to Islamtaiwan.com, at the homepage, you will be able to see the prayer times. And don't worry if you don't speak Chinese, because at the bottom of the page, you will be able to switch to different languages. And currently the website supports English and Indonesian and French and Chinese and Arabic. So back to the homepage, you can see that there are different applications within this website. So there are basically two sections. So in the first section, you will be able to find local halal information, such as halal restaurants, halal stores, and then the places you can pray, for example, the mosque and the prayer rooms. You'll be able to find the local hotels. So let's just take a look at, for example, the halal restaurants. The restaurants here are divided according to the cities, and each restaurant might have information about their halal certificates and as well as what type of cuisine they provide. So here's an example of one of the restaurants that was recently added. And this is basically how it looks like. You could find some description about this restaurant. There could be the photos of their menus, depending on whether I have the information or not. And you can find the address of it, the types of cuisines they provide, the work hours, and their contacts, etc. So initially, I did gather these information through automation, but later on I started to gather one by one manually. So basically, it's the same structure for all the other local halal information, for the restaurants, for the stores, for the hotels, for the organization, or even the prayer places. It's all the same structure. And the second section of this website contains lots of Islamic resources for anyone to learn about Islam. Whether you are a Muslim or a non-Muslim, this is a good place for you to learn about the fundamentals of Islam. The first among these is actually a section for Islamic articles. Here there are some Islamic contents that you can find. They are not necessarily articles, but also videos as well. And most of these articles are written in Chinese. And this is something that I have worked on a lot. And I used to write transcripts from different lectures from English into Chinese and publish them onto my website. For example, the section you can see here is actually the series of the life in the Barzakh by Sheikh Yasser Qadi. I basically wrote a transcript of his lectures and translated them into Chinese. And this is basically how an article looks like. One of the goals of this website is to make it easy and comfortable for anyone to learn about Islam. So of course I had to work on and emphasize the user experience of this application. So I think it should be easy to use for people at any age. Even an old lady should be able to use this application easily. So that is one of the goals I had when developing this application. And here comes the exciting part, which is the online Quran reader that I have spent a lot of time to work on. If you open up the page for the first time, there is a pop-up that links to a video on YouTube that basically teaches you how to use this Quran reader for first-time users. So once you enter the page, you should be able to see all the chapters in the Quran. And if you would like to start from Surah An-Nas, then you can simply switch the sorting order. And of course, there are the basic features for bookmarking. You can bookmark a chapter or even bookmark a verse. So this is how it looks like when you're reading a surah. I believe if anybody used Quran.com, they should be quite familiar with this interface because I took a lot of inspirations from them. So next to each verse, there are multiple actions that you can do. So you can copy the link to this verse itself, or you can also look at the tafsir by clicking this button. And I believe this is revolutionary because there was no single website that provides the tafsir of the Quran in the traditional Chinese language. So here you can see two different versions of tafsir. One is by Sheikh Ma Yulong, and also the other one is the tafsir of Ibn Kathir, which was only recently added. And apart from the Quran, there's also a very simple Muslim handbook for Muslim beginners or non-Muslims who are trying to understand the basic concepts of Islam. This handbook basically talks about a lot of the fundamental concepts in Islam, the Aqidah, for example, what exactly does Islam and Muslim mean, the 5 pillars of Islam, the articles of faith in Islam, etc. So after reading this handbook, you should be able to have a pretty solid foundation on what exactly is the religion of Islam. And this handbook was actually written by one of our local imams, Dr. Ibrahim Zhao, who has worked tirelessly on making this book. And these are some of the most useful resources that I would recommend anyone to look into while they're trying to study about Islam. But of course, there are other resources that you can take advantage of on this website. For example, if you're in Taiwan and you're not too sure about the ingredients of a certain product, then you can try using this online halal scanner. And after scanning it, it's basically going to tell you whether this product is safe to eat or not safe to eat. And another useful resource that you might want to use is the adhkar, which basically shows all the different adhkar that you can recite at different times during the day. And of course, if you would like to know about the direction of the Kaaba, you can try using this Qibla application on the website itself. And another interesting resource that is available on the website is the zakat calculator. So basically, you can provide the amount of money you have in total, and the calculator is going to tell you how much money you're supposed to pay for your zakat. And another interesting resource you can find on this website is the beautiful names of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And also in the homepage, you'll be able to see all the recent Islamic events going on in Taiwan. And when you scroll down below, there is a link to our Discord community server. Perhaps this is something that is worth another video to talk about, but basically on our Discord server, we have a lot of local Muslims as well as non-Muslims who are interested to interact with Muslims located in Taiwan, and that is a very good platform for everybody to communicate with each other. And here's a quick overview of how the Discord server looks like. It has all the information categorized. You can find all the recent events. If there's any job posting, you can find in the jobs channel. If there's any courses available, you can find them in the courses channel. If there are any information about donation, or maybe some products that you would like to sell here, or maybe even some second-handed products that you don't want to sell, but you're willing to give to the other Muslim brothers and sisters, you can all share them here. So if you're interested in communicating with some of our local Taiwanese Muslims, then feel free to join our Discord server. So back to the website, another thing that you can do here is to reserve an appointment, either to take the Shahada or maybe ask some questions that you would like to clarify. So once you tap the button, it's going to lead you to another page, which you can select the time slot that you would like to have the appointment, and you can ask any question you would like to ask. There has already been a couple of new reverts who have recited their Shahada through this method as well. And lastly, if you would like to have a tour at the Taipei Grand Mosque, then you could also reserve a time slot in a similar manner through this button. So after selecting the time slot, you can specify how many people you are coming with, any specific topic that you would like to listen about during the tour. So that is a very brief overview of the Islamtaiwan's website. Of course, I expect the website to grow more and more in the future, inshallah. But more importantly, I hope this serves as a very good resource for non-Muslims to learn about Islam in the Chinese language. I wouldn't really spend a lot of time working on the website nowadays, but if there are some feature requests, then I might consider adding by myself, or I would get some help from my brother, who is also a software engineer that contributed to the development of the website. So alhamdulillah, I am quite happy with the outcome of the website, and nowadays I am spending a little bit more time on social media and especially on YouTube to provide more Islamic contents through videos. And because I really don't have any experience in shooting videos or editing videos, I even rarely post anything on my own personal social media. So this is actually quite challenging for me to even shoot videos like this. But hopefully with your support, we will be able to push the da'wah in the Chinese language even further in the future, inshallah. Please take good care of yourself, and inshallah I will see you in the next videos. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Subhanallah walhamdulillah wa la ilaha illallah Allahu akbar